Hiya YouTubers, a little bit off topic, not something I would normally do, but something I've always wanted, and I thought I'm going to build one because I've looked on YouTube, I've looked everywhere, and to be honest, I've looked at all the videos online to do what I'm trying to do, which is basically build a bumblebee hive, and all the videos I've seen, apart from a few, have been totally crap, to put it politely. That's what they are. Some people have tried, and to be honest, they're not really up to spec that I thought so. And I've given it a lot of thought. The thing is, most bumblebees they want in nature they will take over a mouse hole, and because they can't carry their own nest material, they will basically go down for a hole, and then they'll find the nest, and of course it's already built by the mouse, and then that's where they'll build their colony, so to speak. A lot of the boxes that I've seen online, they're just basically boxes with a little divider in there, and they don't look nothing more than just a normal bird box really, and they were unentertaining, and they lacked everything that a bumblebee needed, pretty much. Apart from a few, there's been some out there, but they're just not very good, and they've not really considered a lot of things such as the wax moth. Wax moth will just devastate the nest. First of all, what I'll do is I'll explain the dimensions and stuff, then I'll go and I'll give you basically I'll just show you it first, then give you the dimensions, and I'll show you the parts that I've used. And then at the end, what I'll do is I will show you or explain to you the food, how to catch the bee, how to put it in, when to put it in, when to look for them. So these two that I've got here are not 100% finished. They're 99% finished. But the only thing I haven't done is sanded them down and put yacht varnish on them. The reason why I want yacht varnish is because I want the boxes outside so I don't get them wet. The overall view, another thing I haven't done yet, I just wanted to show you this before I get carried away. I cut these on my saw. I use a skill saw, and they cut perfect, but you need a good blade with lots of teeth on it. No, you don't want one the fewer the teeth, the more I'll hack it and chip it and whatever. The more teeth, the finer it cuts. Of course, when I run it through the mill, stupid me forgot to put a piece of towel down, so it all got scratched. Now I've got to sand it all down with several different grades of wet and dry, right down to 2,500, the number or whatever, anyway, and it'll get it fine. And then you obviously finish it off with metal polish, so it will come up like brand new. It'll come up like Windows pretty much by the time you're finished. Now, of course, you can't just have that on top there, because these are basically observation hives. You can't just have that on there and then overlooking it, because it'll disturb the bees. So you need stuff like this, which you can get online. What this is a sticky back stuff. You can get it online on eBay. Literally get a huge roll of it, way more than enough. You could build several of them, probably 6 to 8 of them with this stuff. And what it is, it's sticky back, and it's designed for brake lights. So if you want to know, this stuff comes from China, and it literally cost me £1. And it's a huge, I think it's about 1 meter long, something like that. And you peel it off and you stick it on there, and the whole thing will be red. You've got to cover the whole thing. The whole thing needs covering. The reason why is because bumblebees don't see in the red spectrum. So of course, once this stuff is on there, once you've covered that in the red stuff, you have a little piece at the bottom, a tiny piece like that. That you peel the sticky stuff off, you stick it on the bottom side so that your red stuff is on top. Bring it up, and then basically fold it over like that, and then that will be a flap, so you can pull it up and down, and it will stick on there. So, and then otherwise you're not going to be able to get the thing back out. So anyway, this is what it looks like. This is what the box looks like, and these are your air vents, and everything's slate so that the rain can fall off, and it just keeps it nice and dry. It looks tidy as well. This here is metal gauze on the inside which is it's quite expensive stuff if you buy it like I bought. This cost me like £13. It would have cost me about 18, but I got it from an arts and crafts shop. It's metal, and it's very fine holes in there, and it's just basically to keep the bugs out and to let the box breathe so that they can get air through there. The bees will normally stand and see inside, and they'll aerate it so they can circulate the air around between the holes, etc. One side, this is actually the back, although it's the front where the bees go in. It's actually this is actually back because you've got the tube that goes down on the inner side, which of course I didn't really want to have a tube up the front, and then because you need that tube for them to think that they're going through a mouse hole, and you need to have it going downwards so that they're convinced that they're going through a mouse hole down into a nest. Now I didn't really want to have a tube coming from the outside of the box because it just looked ugly. So I thought, well, why not just have the tube on the inside and save the room, and then they come in through the hole from the front. I'll explain this more in detail in a minute because I've got one there which I've rebuilt. I've got several of these. I've got more than two. But since people have seen them, they all want Bumble Bee hives. But anyway, the bee goes in here. It will go down into the tube, and as it descends into the nest, it will turn around and it will come to the front, thinking that this was the mouse nest. Now, if you've had a mouse in here, if you've kept a mouse in here for a day or two first, it will be even better because the bumblebees tend to like the scent of a mouse. But I don't know why, they just do. They just seem to think, well, it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me, and then it's all built up. The mouse normally builds it up into a nice cup, perfect for how the bumblebees love it. And it's got a recessed part at the bottom, like a little pit. I call it the pit because bumblebees, like us, they like to poo and they urinate, and of course you don't want it sat lingering in with the nest, so it will drop through the mesh onto the bottom. That's what the mesh is for, underneath. And it's like got about 3/4 of an inch drop, so, and they can't get down there anyway. It's all screwed in. The bottom, around the edges here, that's been routed down about a centimetre and a half down, and I've used 6mm perspex, which sits inside. That will sit on there perfectly, and that gives you like a small recess in there for your lid, which will go on. I've done the same with this. I've routed down all the way around so that will sit perfectly on there. And then if you wanted to, you could I've left a little bit, I've routed that a bit wider because I didn't want a tight fit, because obviously the weather changes. This is going to expand and contract, so and I didn't want to fight to get the lid off, so I would just put it so that it fits nicely. And if you're worried about the wind blowing off, you can put a brick on top, or if you wanted to, if you've got several, you can stack them on top. You can have one going one way, one facing the other, so the bees can go in that way or the other way. It doesn't matter, or you can have them the same. They're not really bothered. They don't bicker between them normally. The only thing is you might need put different markings on each one so that they recognise which is theirs and which is not. So they haven't been sanded yet, so they've still got the markers on there. All the markings that I've done. Right. You'll notice that there's about an inch overhang all the way around. That's just basically just to keep the rain off. Just thinking of the rain, that's all. It looks quite tidy as well. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, you can make it more fancy and put more thin battens around the edges just to ensure that the rain don't get in. It won't. And not only that, you don't get no bugs in through the top neither. And if the bugs did get through, they'd still have to get through that. It's all nice, tightly snug fit. So that's what it looks like, pretty much. Things like that. Another thing I wanted to show you is the little feet, the rubber feet at the bottom. These are nice, soft rubber like feet. So that keeps it raised off the ground, because you don't want it sat on the floor where it's going to get all wet and mouldy and whatnot. But if you do varnish it, varnish the bottom as well, because obviously rain or the moisture will penetrate through the bottom eventually. And this is all detachable, so it comes off, so you can change the mesh if you need to, in case it does dirty, you can put new pieces of mesh on there. That's 6mm ply, 6mm ply, 6mm ply. The little bracket on the front is 6mm ply. I haven't taken it off of the other one, but I should have done. It doesn't matter. It's only for show anyway. Right. When you put these on the floor, ideally you want longer legs. These are the only ones that I was able to get at that time because I just wanted them built now because it's the 24th of February in the UK, and I've only got about a week or two before the queen bees start coming out. So I was running a bit short on time, and like I said, I've built quite a few of them already. So ideally, I wanted longer feet. The reason for that is because if you do have a problem with ants where you are, which a lot of people do have a problem with ants, and I had a bumblebee nest last year which got devastated by the ants. They took all the honey out, and the bees got fed up and just left, which is a shame really because it was doing quite well. You get several of these, which are just milk carton lids, and you fill them with water. And if you've got nice long feet, you just put one under each one, and that will stop any ants or any bugs climbing over up into the the hive and raiding it basically. And you also want to make sure you've got no pieces like branches or pieces of grass that are touching anywhere on the box. You want it up on you want it freestanding. Put it on a board if you have to. Just put it on a board and make sure there's nothing touching it all the way around. You only need one strand of grass, and that's a little bridge for them with the ants and other little pests will get in and they'll just raid the nest. So that's the only protection will be the little cups if you can get them. That's what I really wanted to cover on that. Right, I'm going to show you one broken down, what it looks like as I fill it. As you can see, this one here is where it looks frosty. That's where I've already started sanding it down. It will look like a window. It will look clear as a bell when I finish. But that's where I run it for the meal, and I scratched. That's quite a deep scratch from there actually. Right. I've used this. I don't know if you can see it. It's just wire mesh, metal mesh. And then before I show you that, I just wanted to quickly show you. It's about 3/4 inch recess on the inside. It's raised. I put battens around the outside. And the reason for that is just for the mesh. This is for the pit at the bottom, so where the poo clicks at the bottom, or any other rubbish. It all goes through there, all the wires where the bees don't go. It all sit on the bottom, and you can clean it out at the end of the year when it comes to about December, January time. You can clean it all out, ready for spring, because once the beginning of March hits, there's going in the UK anyway, or the Northern Hemisphere, that's when all the bumblebees are going to be out. They come out looking for somewhere to nest. And then I use this, it's put on top just to hold it down. This is a 6mm ply. What I've done is I've routed out the centre. I mean, you could do it. You could have it. It doesn't have to be like that. You can have it smaller if you wanted, or like half. What I should have done was come down to about there, a little platform so they can walk across. It didn't really matter. I've already done it that way now. So, and then that goes inside there, and you screw that down. That holds the mesh nice and tight. So that bit, let's say at the end of the year, gets cleaned out. This piece here, this is the tunnel which they will go through. It's been cut on an angle so that when that goes in, that bottom piece there has been cut on a slight, it's a 45-degree angle, I believe, something like that, very close to that. And that will actually sit on the bottom where the mesh is. They can still get in and out, because when that sits on the board, let me show you. When it sits on that angle, as you can see, they can still get out the end. Yeah. And the idea is that when the bee comes in from the front, she goes down, she thinks she's going for a mouse hole. And then she's also going down. And then she'll go round and where she start to build a nest, hopefully. And then that gets attached, screwed on. That's all about, that's been drilled, countersunk. And then this will attach again to the two holes on the side and a hole there, and that's screwed on to the front. Now, this piece here is going to be a universal part, because at some point you're going to, when you first get your bumblebee, you're going to need to feed them. But for now, I haven't built them for this one. So what you would do is you get, sorry, I'll get this one. You get confused between them now. Right. So what you would do down here, this is where you put your food, in that corner, and in the middle is where you put your pollen mixed with a little tiny bit of honey rolled into a ball. It'd be like plasticine. And bee pollen you can get online. You can get it from eBay, a couple of pound, couple of UK pound, or $3-4 or something. You only need a little bit, like 10 grams or something like that. Really, don't really need a great deal. Not if you've got only one hive. Just what you do is you get like about a tablespoon of it, and add a couple of drops of honey with a tiny bit of water, and roll it until, when you get the bee pollen, you need to crush it down so it's a dust, really fine dust, and then mix it all up together with the honey into a ball. So it's like plasticine. And then when the ball, you only need a piece about the size of your tip of your finger, and just put it in the middle of the bed and build a nest around it, because that's where build a little cup around it, because that's where she will build her nest. And yeah, right, this I'll show you. I'll explain the dimensions of the holes in a minute. This is, like I say, this is the main front where they'll be going in and out. And obviously, I've got the little slope on there to keep the wind, the rain and the wind off, I suppose. And there's a little U-ring, an O-ring in there. Which, how I made that is just all I had. I'll just get these apart. This is the tool that I used. Yeah, these come off, and there's quite a few parts. I've used the inner one. That would have been the third. The second. Getting confused now. Right, that's the first one. That would have been the second, and then the third. What it is a hole cutter. What I've done is I took the second one away, so you left with the first one, missed the second and the third, and I got myself 9 mil ply, and I just kept drilling several of them out, and then I used one of them to make the O-ring that goes on the front. You might think, what's the point of doing that? But there is a good reason. If I want to put a flap on there, you need it raised. The reason being so that when you put the flap on there, it won't be red, it'll be clear. That'll probably be, you want very soft plastic so they can bend it easily, so they can move it easily. The reason being is to keep the wax moth out. So you can glue it at the top if you want to, or put a drawing pin on there if you like. But you want to make sure it's squared so that they can get behind it and move the flap. And that's why it's raised. That's why the O-ring's on there. It's about 9 mil from the back. So the idea is that bumblebee comes in, she will land probably this side, and then she'll go behind it, just like she was moving a leaf to get into her hole, into the side of a bank or something like that. And some people would think, well, how are they going to move that bit of plastic? How are they going to get in a hole? The plastic's in the way. But they're not stupid. If they've come out of the hole, they know there's a way back in there, so they will figure it out. And once they figure it out the first time, they never forget. And every time they will do the same thing. They will come in and out the same way. As the nest gets more built up, you might think, it's a lot of bees in there now, and they're taking a long time to get in and out. You can, if you want, to take it off. If you're confident enough, you're not going to get any wax moths in there. I mean, I probably wouldn't use them. But if you have a problem with wax moths, or you've known to lose nests through them, then that's what you can do. That's what that is for. And if you don't use it, you can take it off, and they'll still climb in and out. So, I say this is a universal part. So basically, take it off, and there'll be another one on there. Instead of having the O part on there, there'll be like a little sliding, like a little clear perspex door which slides up and down, where I can pretty much put their food in there with honey mixture or a bit of pollen or both, and then rather than let them out for the first 2 weeks, you can just feed them there. She'll come up, she'll get her food, she'll go back down, and then she'll feed the babies like she's she's rearing the larvae. And then when you think, right, she's starting to build her nest and she's getting pretty well developed in there, and you've got bumblebees hatching here and there, you can take the other one off, and then you can put this one on, and then you're ready to go. But I like to put a bit of, I don't know where it's gone, I like to put a little bit of plastic between, I don't know if you can see, just the top part and there, and then screw it onto the thing. The reason being is it keeps the rain out. I don't want any kind of moisture getting in there, really. I mean, once it gets wet in there and moisture, you get mould, and it'll devastate the nest as well. You need to keep it nice and dry so they can look after it. You don't want too much nesting material in there. Don't overload it with too much, because you won't be able to see anything for a start. They don't need a great deal. Just think about a mouse. A mouse normally just builds a little bed. And what they will do is they'll build it up a little bit around the edges, and then all the rest of the nest is on top. But if you've got it all compact and there's too much, this is loft installation, basically. It's nothing special, just normal loft installation. You could probably put some bits of straw in there, like not straw, bits of dry grass, build it up a little bit of that. They don't mind that. And yeah, they'll build their nest like that. You don't put too much stuff in there, don't need a great deal. And when you've done that, you should be ready to get yourself a queen. Now, I'd say the queens come out at the beginning of March, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. Don't take one from a flower, because you don't know if she's already got a nest. Now, there is one video where a lady's gone on there, and she tried it. She was quite good. It was an Northern, I think, American woman with very, very high pitched voice. She did do a really good video, but the only thing I didn't like is at the end, where she actually said, where she showed you, she caught a bumblebee from a flower. Now, she didn't know that bumblebee already had a nest. It could be out collecting food to take back to the nest. And that was quite a sad mistake, really. I always look for one that's nosing around in the grass at the bottom. They're all the little banks, you normally find it when it's early morning and there's a lot of dew on the ground, and it's still a little bit chilly, and they're just looking around, and they're looking for something, and they're the ones you want to catch, because they're a queen looking for a mouse hole so that they can go down and start building a nest. That's what they're looking for. When you do catch one, make sure this is all prepared first. Get all the food in there, all the honey mixture. Honey mixture, I use 50% honey, 50% water. I mix it really, really well, and I soak a sponge, a little tiny bit of sponge, and I put that in the corner. You only need that size of your thumb. That's all you need, and then she'll drink from that. And at the same time, you get your bee pollen. Make sure it's ground down to the dust. Get about a tablespoon, and add a few drops of honey mixture, honey water to it, so that you can mix it into like a plasticine to sort of texture. That's what you want. Make a ball about the size of your finger, and then put it in the middle of the cup of the nest where she's going to be. You're wondering where to put the food, the honey, the actual honey, the sponge. And you want to put this up this end, really away from the nest, so she can make a move over here and get it. And then it doesn't spill all inside the nest. If she likes to move around in there, she just doesn't want to be sat in that nest constantly. She will want to exercise. And when you see that she started developing the nest, she'll start to build it, and she'll have a few combs in there. Usually about 10 days to 2 weeks. You can actually, like I say, you can open this up so you can open this up so you can go in and out. And of course, if you haven't got anything like that on the front, at first you just want to block him. So you could probably put something over it like that, blocking the hole. I don't know if you can see, and then screw that back on so that she can't get in and out, because you want to keep her in there for 2 weeks, or until you're happy that she's built her nest and she's going to come back. Because if you keep her in there, or she's only just started building it, she may not come back. Right. The next thing is, where do you want to house the hive? Where are you going to place it? You want to place it really somewhere where it's shaded, because if it's hot weather, they're going to bake, they're going to cook. If it's hot summer, you remember they've got to go through they've got to go through all your they've got to go through all the spring, The spring, at late spring, it will start getting very, very warm. Of course, the summer will get very, very warm until it approaches autumn time. They need to be kept reasonably cool. Once you've housed it somewhere, you can't really move it. It's not ideal to move. I mean, you can, but I wouldn't bother. I would just, once you've got it somewhere, leave it. So that's what you need to be looking at anyway. You want somewhere where it's shaded. Ideally, you want a plot of brick, a slab, a flat surface. But you want it away from bushes. Not, well, you can keep it near the bushes and grass, but don't let anything touch the box or anywhere around so that the bugs can't get onto it. And other than that, you should be alright. But you do want you want like bluebells, like the sort of plants in your garden. You want bluebells, you want foxgloves, you want lavender, chives, flowering chives, and they're the sort of things that the bumble. If you read online, if you're not sure what plants to put in your garden, look online and they will tell you what sort of plants bumblebees enjoy. That's the sort of thing I'd be looking at. Roses, they love roses as well. See other fuchsias, especially the small one, very, very small flower. I have one which is a friend gave to me. They go mad for it. The flowers are so small you can hardly see them, but the bumblebees actually love them. So they're the sort of things that you want in your garden. Overload it with bumblebee friendly plants, so that they don't have to venture too far. There's no point in having a bumblebee hive there if you've got no food for it. If they've got to venture too far, it's just pointless. So that's what you'd be looking at. And I do apologise to one gentleman. I can't remember your name. Sorry, I can't remember your name at the moment because my computer's offline. I know you've been waiting for some time for this video, and I did say I was going to post it, and it's cutting it a little bit slim really to upload it because so you've only got about a week or two before you start seeing the queens come out. But I say you have got up to about the end of March. It's usually all through March you'll find them, but mostly best time to get them is in the beginning when they first come out. That's the time. And before I did move on, I did want to say again that that's 3mm ply. That's 6mm ply. That's 6mm ply. All this around here is 6mm. The whole box is made from 9mm ply. This is all made from 6mm ply. That was sprouted in about 4mm in all the way around, so it's got the ledge for the plastic to sit on. That is 5 or 6mm perspex. And again, that's 9mm ply. That's sprouted in about 4mm, just to sit on, snug to keep the rain out and bugs out, basically. Have I missed anything? Yeah, holes. Right, that hole, I use these. That was the one on there was a 20mm hole. The one on the side, the holes on the side are 28mm. So they're the size of the holes that I've used. Same as that. That's a 20mm as well. That's a 20mm hole. I think it's big enough. You could go a little bit bigger, but I wouldn't bother. I think 20mm is perfect. If you get it too big, you end up getting mice in there. The mouse would get through that anyway. But if you don't really want to encourage more, you don't really want to encourage mice into it. You really want to keep bees in there. So they're the tools that I use. So I have several all different sizes. So and yeah, these are quite easy to build. All it is just 2 pieces of batten, very thin batten, which I actually had to make quite thin myself, and that's about 2mm thick, 1.5 2mm thick pieces of pine. I actually run that through the mill, but you could probably, I don't know, you could probably put cardboard in there if you wanted to do it cheaply. If you wanted, you can just use drawing pins to hold it in. If you wanted to do it that way, it's up to you. It doesn't really matter. Well, it's just to mimic it just mimics the hole. And the size of that, let's have a look. That is 1.5 centimetre by 2 centimetres. So you've got a 2 centimetre across, 1.5 centimetre high. So that when they go on, you've got you can. There should be enough room for them to cross over if there's like more than 1 or 2 in there. Anyway, that's pretty much covers that. Right, so you can build them so they stack. You can build them so they stack on top if you wanted to, or you could have one facing that way and have one facing the other way, and then vice versa all the way up. It's up to you if you want to do it. They don't mind, but if you do have them that way, if you have them like that, but you want to put some kind of markers on there, yeah, that's what you really need. Some kind of markers, or on the thing where they land, or on here. Just put a bit of paint on there before you varnish them, so that they know that they're different ones. Right, so they might end up going for the wrong hives. I don't know. I don't think they would fight, but they might do. They might fight if they end up inside the wrong hive. So, but usually it's the colours of these they could probably recognise anyway. But it's just to be on the safe side. Anyway, it's just a quick video. I say it's not really my sort of video. In fact, this channel I don't really bother with much. It's just miscellaneous stuff that I put on here. I have another channel called Finch Keeper, which is all about finches, obviously, which is the one I dedicate most of my time to. But there is some guy, like I say, I can't remember his name offhand. I know he's been having trouble trying to attract bumblebees to his garden, and I really hope this is helpful. I hope this is helpful to him. Oh, I've forgotten it. I've got to give you the dimensions. Oh, from there to there, that's 9 inches. Yeah, that's 6 inches, and it's 6 inches. So that's 6 be 6 be 9. That's what I should have explained. And this one has about an inch or so gap all the way around. It's just so you've got that overhang. So this stuff here is just the stuff you get on eBay. It's about £1 from China. If you don't mind the weight, it only takes about 4 to 6 weeks, whatever, for it to turn up for £1. It's not bad. But if you buy it from the UK, it's about £6-7 for the same stuff. So you might as well get it from China. It's just really good stuff. I really like this. It's well worth the wait. Honey, well, honey's cheap. Well, cheap old honey would do. Bee pollen, get that on eBay again, £2 or £3, £2 or £3, or maybe a little bit more. It depends on how much you want. Like I say, the other stuff is that other stuff you can get. I think it's about 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters, and that's about £3. This stuff here is I bought really fine stuff because I use it for my seeds and stuff. But I'll say you can get that online as well on eBay. One about 100 micron, really, something like that. 100 micron would be perfect, really. It's only just to, like I say, so they can get air in there and keep the bugs out as well. Well, I do apologise. I ran out of time on the last video. When it gets to 30 minutes, it normally just cuts off, and I didn't realise it had been 30 minutes already. Anyway, I'm going to end the video here. This isn't my usual channel, so I say I don't really bother with this one much. It's just miscellaneous stuff. So I'm not really bothered about thumbs up, thumbs down. It doesn't mean anything. If you like it, it's up to you. I'll just be glad that you get something out of it, really. If it works, it should do. I'm not worried about subscribers on this one either. This is like I say, this is a channel I just use for watching other channels and stuff. It's not my primary channel at all. So, anyway, I hope you found some use out of it, and those who do decide to build this, I hope you have some good luck with it. It's a nice little design, so I think it's a little bit nicer to look at than some of the ugly boxes that I've seen out there. And I've seen some crazy ideas, or old buckets upside down, and they filled, and the efforts they go through, they don't need to. Just something like this is just perfect. They look nice as well, and you can clean them out every year and use them again and again. So, especially if you've got quite a few of them dotted around your garden, etc. You know, look quite nice. Like I say, I wouldn't bother painting them. Don't bother painting them. Just put a little bit on there if you need to, or a little around, you know, you can paint a little bit there so that the bumblebees know that if you've got lots of them, I would do that. And then varnish over the top, just for an identification for the bees, so that they know which is theirs. So anyway, hope you found it interesting, and I'm going to end this video here, and thanks for watching.